Uganda is home to over 34 million people. Almost all of them derive their livelihood by use of natural resources which are prone to changes in climate. IITA and CIAT conducted research to find out the various climate change interventions and their implementation by different actors.
So we found that there were a lot of issues and constraints that were facing farmers. Planting eucalyptus in wetlands, the wetlands are drying up, communities don't have water, the prolonged droughts that are happening, then like the rich people come and fence the wells, the local people have nowhere to fetch the water, and they have to travel long distance to fetch water during the drought. Key among those was the disconnection. The farmers are disconnected from the districts are disconnected from the national level, and yet we have policies that can inform all those administrative levels and the farming communities. And that's how we come out of saying, okay, can we try to link the different partners that are responsible, those that develop policies, those that are supposed to implement.
The research findings became a basis for the scaling of climate-smart agricultural practices project interventions, the CCAFS-funded PACCA project and the IFAD-funded project.
PACCA is Policy Action for Climate Change Adaptation, and it's a project that sought to link institutions and policies from national level to local level so that the policies are climate resilient and gender responsive. We're also generating evidence, particularly on policy analysis, looking at policies, trying to understand who is the main actor, how are the actors connected, who is doing what role, identifying gaps and opportunities, and also feeding them within the research generated.
Most people, including the staff at the district headquarters, cannot actually articulate the nitty-gritty of climate change. The first time I came face to face with climate change was in Arua, when Ministry of Water and Environment, Climate Change Department, invited districts in the region for a meeting. We did not pick much from that meeting.
It is a new concept for many of us, but especially the rural population.
There is a lot of work which is being done by the civil societies in various districts, but how does that work inform government kind of intervention? How do we bring those who are in practice, those who have knowledge with the grassroots people, to help them structure into government program?
To bridge the gap between policy actors at different levels, the Learning Alliance model was adopted to enable actors at different levels to interact and share experiences from implementation to inform policy decisions.
Then we formed these platforms at the national level, and then at the district level. We also had the districts coming to join the national platform meetings to be able to discuss, bringing issues from the district to inform the national level. And then at national level, we are also informing the districts in the way, trying to bridge the gaps that we found were existing in the first research we did. All the people that are playing, because the researchers on the platforms, academia is in the platforms, the NGO, the service providers, including NGOs and government, are on the platforms, the media people are on platforms. So we all sit in the same multi-stakeholder platform that we chose to call a Learning Alliance.
So the farmers on the ground who were struggling to do agriculture would share their frustrations and challenges. Then the policymakers like finance and the planners would also share strategies on how some of those challenges would be addressed.
We could also invite some of the districts which we have identified to be part of this Learning Alliance, because the districts were at pilot level. So once these were working well, then this can be upscaled in other districts. So we are sampling by region. We had one in the north, that is Noya. We had the Mbale. Then we had the Rakai, to see how do we facilitate stakeholders dialogue.
And therefore, in order for government to respond adequately to these numerous challenges, which require substantial financial, technical, and technological resources, we as a government support partnerships. And the partnership, therefore, with the IITA was timely.
So as a district, we mooted the idea of a climate change forum, which we called the Mbale District Climate Change Learning Alliance. And we developed a template focusing on climate change, which we sent out to the different actors to be able to tell us what they are doing.
Because climate-smart practices differ from one climatic zone to another, the Learning Alliance carried out district zoning for appropriate climate-smart practices.
We were able to undertake a participatory resource mapping, looking at the different agroecological zones that are in the district. Here, of course, we have the highland, we have the midland, and then the low-lying areas. We are also given technical support by IITA to align the agroecological zones to the priority enterprises that are being undertaken in those different agroecological zones. And we are able to come up with zonal planning frameworks, focusing on how climate change is affecting the different priority enterprises and also the gender aspects that are related to those enterprises.
And so we picked on coffee as a key entry point because coffee for many years traditionally in Mbale and the whole region, Mount Elgon region, has been a very key crop.
But over time, this subsector of coffee has faced a number of challenges arising from a number of issues, but key among them is climate change. We have been able to come up with a policy, an ordinance that we are taking through the different levels of approval, and we believe this will be one of the key areas to help us address the challenges that the subsector is facing.
When you don't involve people at various levels, sometimes when it comes to implementation, it becomes hard. But now it is at the district level, at the same time it is at a farmer level. Now the voice of the farmers, by the time it will come in force, we shall have been acquainted with.
Much as we have what you call public-private partnership, usually it's a new development that the local government is trying to adopt. But previously they will sit there and pass without involving the stakeholders or in the industry.
This project was about increasing food security and improving farming system resilience in northern Uganda.
CIAT influences policymaking through the climate smart agriculture profiles that we develop. These profiles are developed in collaboration with smallholder farmers and other stakeholders in the agriculture sector, where we evaluate the potential shocks and stresses of climate change, what the current adaptation practices are, and then advises on investment planning to ensure that resilience can be built right along the agriculture value chain. In Uganda, in northern Uganda, which is a drought-prone area, we're working with farmers and farmer organizations to introduce the NABE 15 bean. Now, the NABE 15 bean has two unique traits. One is it's highly resistant to diseases, specifically the bean anacross disease. The second is it's drought tolerant.
We wanted the farmers to learn through doing. And so we set up demonstration plots in several sites across the villages. And the farmers were able to learn how to manage this variety and as well as compare it to their local varieties. What the farmers reported and were able to see was that this variety could be able to tolerate most of the common pests and diseases, and at the same time it was yielding up to 3 times more than their local varieties.
And both projects run are research projects, one informing and augmenting the other, and then looking at to what extent do the policies integrate climate change, to what extent do they integrate gender, identifying gaps and opportunities, and also feeding them within the research generated.
We are now seeing at opportunities, how we can seize opportunities to replicate and scale out some of these innovations. And one of them, as you rightly observe, is establishing different platforms alongside different key action areas. And already we believe that we can replicate this in a number of local governments, as well as also at the national level.
So there are a number of achievements, but the key ones that I can highlight is the creation of awareness in terms of what is climate change. The other thing is that we successfully managed to bring together different stakeholders to work together. And through the learning alliances, we've been able to talk to parliamentarians both in Uganda and Tanzania and tell them, look here, these are the issues, these are the policy gaps, the institutions are not working right, something should be done. Gender is not being taken care of, something should be done. The National Environment Policy of Tanzania were able, through a scenario process, scenario-guided policy planning, they were able to integrate climate change. The mainstreaming guidelines for the agriculture sector in Uganda as the first sector that has own climate change mainstreaming guidelines as a pioneer was able to be done through that. And when we come to the district level for the local governments we worked with, 4 in number, they were all able to integrate climate adaptation within their district development plans.
Effects of climate change are dynamic, multifaceted, and requires dynamic actors to tackle it.